First question I want to ask you is something that your son said on CNN a short while ago. You said if Ron Paul split off, meaning from the Republican Party, like Ross Perot split off, it just defeats the Republican nominee, but not necessarily a third-party candidate. So, once and for all, if you do not succeed in this Republican contest, will you continue to be a Republican?
I have no plans in doing that. Tomorrow is a big day. We're going to see what happens, but I have no intention of doing that, no plans and no desire, and flat out I don't want to.
Okay, because before you've been a little bit circumspect. You've run as a libertarian before.
Right, and I've never spoken in absolutes. I mean, I had no plans to do and no intention of doing it, and I would not see myself doing that.
I think one of the really cool things is that my dad's bringing all these independents along, too. Not only Republicans, but independents. That's how you win elections. You can't win with just Republicans. If you look at all the polls, CNN polls, all the polls, you'll find that Ron Paul does better with independents than any other Republican candidate.
Now, you told CNN yesterday that you were going to come in second. The recent polls show that you're actually declining right now as we get closer to the caucuses. And one of the reasons is because Rick Santorum is surging. You've been hitting Newt Gingrich in your ads. You have been hitting Mitt Romney in your ads, but not Rick Santorum. Yeah. Was he a surprise?
You know, I'm amazed at how you pick and cite certain things, because I read one just a few minutes ago. It was the most recent one. They said that we were in first place. So, you know, I see the citing a poll sometime as orchestrated for a purpose.
Well, right.
Now, it's a tight race. It's in 3 places. Anybody could win out of those 3. But we're excited about the enthusiasm, so...
Rick Santorum is a former senator. You know what it's like to serve in the Senate. You know what it's like to serve in the Congress. Why wouldn't he be a good Republican nominee?
Because he's very liberal.
Rick Santorum's liberal?
Oh, I mean, have you looked at his record? Go look at his record. I mean...
What makes him liberal?
He spends too much money. I mean, he wasn't leading the charge to slash the budgets and vote against big government.
What do you think about him?
You know, he voted to double the size of the Department of Education. He voted to expand Medicare and add free drugs for senior citizens. And he's voted for foreign aid. Those are not conservative principles. 77% of the American people are opposed to foreign aid. And Rick Santorum's voted for it every time it's come down.
I just have one last question on to the substance. I was talking to a very well-plugged-in Republican here in Iowa who told me that one of the reasons why you're losing support in these waning days is because of your with Republicans is because of your foreign policy, specifically on Iran. So my question for you is, what would a President Paul do if Iran were to get a nuclear weapon?
That's a long answer. We're running out of time. Just come to the meeting we're going to have. If I mention anything about the troops and coming home and stopping the wars, you'll get the loudest applause, and that's why my crowds are growing, because I have a different foreign policy. I have the old right foreign policy. I have the foreign policy of George W. Bush of 2000, when he says, no nation building, no policing the world, no entanglements, none of these wars. That's what he ran on. That's why the Republican Party does support this. They have in the past. But to say that the Republicans are going to shy away from this, 70% of the American people are agreeing with me about getting out of Afghanistan. That's what you ought to be talking about.
Okay. Now, obviously, they are very much focused on getting out as many voters to the caucus sites across the state as possible tomorrow. I'm hearing from Republicans, John, who are affiliated with other campaigns, that they are amazed at how wonderful, frankly, that they say the Ron Paul organization is. We'll see if that actually bears out tomorrow. But in terms of the long term, there's no question. I'm sure you talk to Republicans who are worried as well, just like I am, that Ron Paul will continue on long into the spring and summer, even further. Even if he runs as a Republican or as an independent, he could really hurt whomever the Republican nominee is, because still nobody thinks, even if he does well here in New Hampshire, that he will ultimately be the nominee.